Action!
It is a Fast Friday right here on the Heidi Harris Show. Rantapalooza is here. Ransom from our sister station, X1075. Hello, my friend.
Stretch out my muscles. I'm doing good. How are you?
Stretch them out. All right. Tell me about the Light Between Oceans.
Light Between Oceans is a roller coaster of emotions, Heidi. It is the story of a man who just came back from World War I and his wife. He gets a job as the keeper of a lighthouse on like a little island out in the middle of the ocean. He's out there. He brings his wife. They decide they want to start a family. They try to have kids for a long time. They keep having miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. And then while the wife is kind of going crazy a little bit, played by Alicia Vikander, they see a boat, a little rowboat out in the ocean. Michael Fassbender's character, the husband, is like, there's a boat. So it washes up to the shore. There's two bodies in it. One of them is alive. It's a little baby. And it's the baby's dead father. He's thinking to himself, he's like, I have to log this because somebody might be looking for this baby. Alicia Vikander's character says, well, they might throw this kid into an orphanage. We can give this baby a better life. This might be God's work. God might be, telling us that this is, we're supposed to be here for this child. So she convinces this man to raise this child. They have it for about 5 years, and then they find out who the mother is. And now we have this whole dynamic of what should they do? They're giving this baby a really great life, and it makes you ask yourself a lot of questions because nobody's really a bad guy here, but man, it's one of those movies that I left and I just kept thinking about over and over again because I'm a new father and I'm just like, man, what would happen if this happened to me?
I have a friend who just lost a child or is in the process of losing a child. He's fostered for 6 years since she was an infant. Some idiot judge is going to let her parents who, I guess he was babysitting for the only parent she's ever known. She's going to have to go back to the scumbags who lost custody of her. I don't want to bring everybody down. When I had him on the air a while back, I was crying. I couldn't stand it. But you're right. It's a lot of emotion. There are no bad guys here or somebody's trying to help. And wow, it sounds like I love the premise, though. It's because it's so different than anything else you've ever heard of, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really think of anything like this really that's out there or that I have seen. But The Light Between Oceans is directed by Derek Sanfrance. You might remember him. He also directed Blue Valentine and The Place Beyond the Pines. This movie is probably my least favorite of those three, but I'm not saying that as a bad thing because I actually really enjoyed this film. I just feel like it was the weakest of the three because it's the most predictable of his films. It kind of gets a little Nicholas Sparksy at times, but it does some things throughout the film that changes that. And like I said earlier, it really, really makes you think, what would I do if I was put into this situation? And what would you do also if you were the parent who you find out 5-6 years down the line that somebody has your child, but they're doing a really great job raising it. And of course, you're going to want your kid back, but what do you do? Like, there's this moral dilemma on both sides of the argument as well. But
Oscar winner, you think? Anybody?
If anything, I say that we see a couple of nominees. The thing that I like about Derek Sanfrance is that he does a really great job as a director of getting the most out of his actors. We have a couple of Oscar winners on this cast as well, with Alicia Vikander and Rachel Weisz. Michael Fassbender has been nominated a couple of times for Oscars. He's never won one. But the emotion that you get out of these women in this movie, Alicia Vikander, she's raised this kid for 5 years, and then something happens where, it could be taken away. You see this range of emotion from happiness to sadness to grief to everything. And I think if anything, she will be the one that could possibly get a nomination. I wouldn't be too surprised if Rachel Weisz gets one too. You're
going to make me feel really old. Have you've seen Willy Wonka, the original?
Yes.
And you've seen Blazing Saddles?
Yes.
How old were you when Blazing Saddles came out? You weren't even born, were you?
I wasn't even born.
What year were you born?
I was in 84. Blazing Saddles was in the 70s.
Give me a cane, Mark, please.
But
Give me a cane. I need a walker.
But yeah, the news with Gene Wilder earlier this week. This was one of the few times where I've actually teared up a little bit hearing about the death of an actor, because Gene Wilder, Robin Williams was another one. Like, these are guys that I just idolized growing up. And, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was one of my favorite films growing up.
Yeah. I
told the story to a friend of mine the other day that when I read the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I was in second grade, and I actually, such a nerdy kid, I actually went out and I bought a bunch of candy bars, and I did my own Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I went out and I printed out golden tickets, and I was holding these contests with my friends in my second grade class, and we would do things, and if you would win a game, you would get to choose one of the candy bars, and it was stupid, but then a friend of mine would pick the right candy bar that had a golden ticket, and it meant absolutely nothing, But it was fun.
Yeah,
and we were kids and we were imagining and we were using our imagination. It was great.
But that just goes to show you how you are who you are from the time you're a little kid. Because here you are now, a radio producer and an official film critic. You're using both of those skills that you're using at the age of 7 to do what you do every single day for a living now.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, I was telling people off in the backyard when I was 3, according to my mom. I'm still doing that. And you're doing what you do. So great to see you. I love it. I love that story. That's fantastic.
Film has been such a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And when I got the news about Gene Wilder, I got really, really sad. But, the great thing about when one of these people dies, they're immortalized,
Yeah. He was fantastic.
And you can go back and you could watch even a movie that would never be released these days with Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles you could never do.
You can never see that remade.
No.
People are always pissed off about, why do they always have to remake movies? Well, guess what? That movie's probably never going to be remade.
I would say not. Somebody gets sued. What's coming up next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about Sully.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The one based on the plane that landed in the Hudson. Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Tom Hanks is in that one.
Can't wait. Ransom, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Follow him on Twitter, Ransompalooza. I'm Heidi Harris.